Welcome to Menopause Moguls podcast, the Elevation Talk series, with yours truly, Dr. Joyelle. I am Dr. Joyelle, the Menopause Mogul, board certified OBGYN and business coach for Black women 40 and over. And my mission is to educate, embolden, and empower Black women and other women of color in their journey through health and careers. This is a space for Black women and other women of color to share their compelling trials and tribulations in their health and or in their careers and businesses. This is where we recognize the humanity of Black women and show how Black women continue to elevate despite midlife challenges and changes. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Menopause Moguls with Dr. Joyelle. How are you guys doing? Thank you for tuning back into another episode. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting, liking, all the things. I really appreciate it. And keep on doing that, y'all, because when you do more of that, more people will see the podcast, more people will see this content. And less people will be out here struggling alone and feeling alone. So today I wanted to make this big announcement. The announcement is that I am now a mom of a whole teenager. A whole teenager, y'all. Like, OMG. Okay. My oldest just turned 13. And like I said, I'm a mother of a teenager now. I just can't believe she is 13. I can't believe it. Like, I'm still processing this. And I wanted to talk about how perimenopause is like middle school. When I think about my teenage daughter, and we were driving home one day. So those of you who don't know, I have 3 kids. I have a 8-year-old son. My other daughter just turned 11 last month. And then my oldest daughter is now 13. And driving home from school, this was actually a few months back. And my son, I don't know what we were talking about. My son was like, oh, he's in the 4th grade. I'm going to skip 5th grade and go right into 6th grade, so that's when middle school starts. And my oldest is like, oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to skip right into middle school because middle school is like a roller coaster. That's what she said. Middle school is like a roller coaster. And when she said that, I immediately thought about how that is a lot like perimenopause, right? So she went on to say, there's drama and with friends. You got to change classes. You got to learn how to figure out which class you need to go to and figure out who are your real friends, like all these things, right? And she's been, navigating it pretty well. In the beginning of the year, she did have some drama with some friends, supposed friends, and they weren't friends. Now they're friends again, and then they're not friends, like this back and forth. It was very emotional because she's a people person. She's a social butterfly. So she really thrives with her friends, right? Like she wants to be around her friends, which is cool, right? And when there was drama, she was like, what the hell? Like, what is this about? Like, I didn't sign up for this. So we had lots of conversations about friends and how you're changing, how your friends are changing, which may change your relationships as you're getting into these upper grades, middle school. So you can expect these changes, and it's how you respond to them that will allow you to continue to, thrive and do well as you're also studying and trying to, learn this new information as a middle schooler. And the other things that, as a middle school teenager goes through, right? The changes in her body that she continues to experience, the emotional changes, again, whether it's with friends or just within herself, and just figuring herself out and, how she fits in the world and what her style is like as far as her fashion. She's definitely a girly girl. So figuring that all out, and then realizing the difficulty, increased difficulty as far as homework and classwork, and realizing that the study habits that she had before, where she could just read something the night before or say something the night before, and she'd be good for the test. And now she's like, oh, that don't work no more. So we're learning more about study habits and creating new study habits so she can um, do well and retain the information she needs to retain to do well on her exams and quizzes and all those things. So learning new habits to be prepared, so that she can be placed in a position to succeed, right? As she's in seventh grade, on to eighth grade, and then ultimately to high school, right? So middle school is preparation for high school. And that is what a lot like perimenopause, right? A lot of the changes that we go through mentally, emotionally, trying to uh, figure out a new identity as we're going through these changes. And this is prepping us for menopause and then beyond, right? And I just remember within my own journey, trying to figure things out, the mind drama that I had within myself in regards to doing different things, so many emotions, work becoming harder because of my menopausal symptoms, um, and also recognizing the habits of ignoring myself, ignoring my symptoms wasn't going to help me to thrive and do well. So I had to change that, right? I had to really refocus on me and prioritize me and learn new habits as far as prioritization when it came to my needs and my desires. And that journey for myself as far as perimenopause really helped me moving forward in my transition to entrepreneurship, in my journey through this whole long COVID thing. Like, a lot of the things that I learned and unlearned in my perimenopause helped me in my next level of life, which is, again, the thing that we went through in middle school. So to sum that all up, if you got through middle school, you'll get through perimenopause. So of course, perimenopause, there's so much more, right, that goes along with it, like raising a teenager, raising other children, raising children just in general, workplace things, other desires that you have. So there's also other things that you're also experiencing when you're going through perimenopause that you didn't go through when you was going through middle school. But it's similar, right? Middle school, there's also outside noise, right? There's the social media stuff and your friends, your peers, all these things. They all impact and influence you as you are, finding yourself and figuring out, how you want to show up in the world. It's very similar to what we're doing here in these midlife years, right? All the noise that happens outside of us, all the life be life and stuff, all the circumstances that we go through, it influences us and how we show up in the world. And what I am trying to be intentional about teaching my now 13-year-old is to practice that prioritization of herself and creating space for herself to do things that bring her joy, that kind of resets her focus on what she wants and what she needs, instead of listening to the outside noise, whether it's her friends and social media, whatever that thing is. Being able to practice that part of self-care where she actually not allow outside influences determine who she is and how she shows up in the world. And she also takes the time to pour into herself when she's not feeling right, like when she's not feeling like herself, or just in general, just to keep pouring into herself so that when things come up, she's not dramatically affected by it, which is very similar to what I'm doing, right? As I continue my journey through perimenopause, right? I'm not menopausal yet. I continue to be intentional about creating that space for myself, and do the things that bring me joy and to pour into myself so that I can um, handle and manage raising children and a teenager, and manage what I want to do in my business, manage other things that I want to do, as far as my podcasts and the books that I'm writing, all these things. Being able to create that space for myself, that will allow me to do that is so important. So, like I said, I'm very intentional about teaching my both my girls and my son, and to do that and make that a practice, right? Because it's not something that we just do once and able to do it over and over again. Because again, we can get sidetracked from all the things that are happening around in our world, right? In our orbit. And we can easily forget about our health and our wellness and our well-being and how we're feeling, because we're so focused on what's happening outside of us, the people that we take care of, and all the things. So it's so easy to get off track, but we have to realize and embrace the importance of creating that space for ourselves, whether it's that space to rest, that space to be still, to figure out what your next step is, but also embracing the process, right, of perimenopause, and not look at it as the doom and gloom, like, oh my gosh, I'm going through this and this sucks and blah, 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 which, obviously some of it does suck. Like, I'm not going to minimize that. But at the same time, use it as your stepping stones, your period of preparation, right? As you are moving forward into menopause and your next level, right? Like, so just like I said, middle school prepares us for high school, perimenopause prepares us for menopause and our next levels, because it gives us the opportunity to ask ourselves those questions of what do we want? What do I need? And go after those things, because we're now prioritizing ourselves and giving ourselves permission to actually do that, especially after years of taking care of everybody else, years of not tending to our own needs and wants, because we either people pleasing and again, so focused on serving others. Perimenopause, this transition is our opportunity to really hone in on who we are and who we want to be, who we are becoming, right? As we are going through all of these changes and transitions, even while you're raising a teenager who's also going through her own changes and transitions. So being able to see each other and give each other that space. Because again, with perimenopause, there's also those times where I can get a little bit irritated, right? Like, don't want to be bothered. And I catch myself, right? Like, I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little, what do I need? Do I need to walk away? Do I need to go sit in my room for 10 minutes? Do I need to go out? What do I need? and actually do that so that I won't, bite the kids' heads off. Well, so I won't bite my husband's head off, right? Like I did in the very beginning of my perimenopause journey, right? So being able to figure all of that out is part of the process, and something that we should again give ourselves space for and permission to do, and not, without judgment, without beating ourselves up, in the process. Um, and again, looking at it as these changes, these challenges is actually making us ready for the next version of ourselves, for our next level, right? And, God positions us to be resilient, right? In different circumstances, be resilient in different challenges. Um, and being aware that we will, get to the top of that mountain. We will get to that big dream, whatever that thing is, even throughout the challenges. But because we know that it's part of the process, this is part of the journey. So embracing that, and knowing that, this is how we get to our next levels, right? So embracing that opportunity in order to do that, is important. And it's something that we've done before as a middle schooler. And now we have to do it again in perimenopause and going into, menopause and beyond. So I just wanted to, um, share that with you all, those of you who are out there who are, potentially having a challenging time with this whole menopausal transition, and at the same time raising teenagers, raising children just in general. I want you to walk away from this knowing that, this is part of your journey, and this is an opportunity to really hone in to you discovering who you are becoming, and then subsequently, um, asking yourself those important questions of what do I want and what do I need right now, right now, so that I can get to my next level, right? So that's what I wanted to share. Um, because it's not easy. Especially, again, if you're going through your own challenges, and then you have now this teenager puberty, I have her, then I have my other daughter who is, like I said, she's 11. So, it's not easy. It's not easy. And I think it's also important to have the lines of communication between you and your children, open, like verbalizing feelings. They verbalizing their feelings, you verbalizing your feelings, and just having conversations over and over again, just about different things, right? Um, my children, they know about perimenopause, and obviously they don't know like all of the details, but they have an idea of what that is and what mommy has experienced and what mommy needs in order to thrive, in order for me to be supportive for them. So they are aware of that. So having those lines of communication is so important as you are, navigating through these transitions. And at the same time, now you are wanting to do big, audacious things like build a business. Have to have those conversations with them too, right? Because they expect, you know, they expect your time, your energy. And I've had conversations where, mommy has to do this. She's working on her business. She has to do that. She has to do this. She has to go to this conference. She has this meeting. Like, we have those conversations. And we, again, discuss the importance of creating that space for us to, again, communicate what we're feeling, what we're thinking, and also allowing ourselves to have time for ourselves, away from, everybody else. So creating that space, and being in tune to what we want and what we need as we're moving forward, as a family and as individuals. So that's what I have for you all today. I hope that was helpful for you mamas out there. Because like I said, I have a whole teenager, y'all, and it's been interesting. It's been interesting. At the same time, awesome, because it's also very cool just to see how she is blossoming and, just reflecting back on my own teenage years. And again, I don't want her to slip into the conditioning that I had growing up in regards to, being a people pleaser and putting all this pressure on yourself and all these things. I really want to make sure she gives herself that space where she doesn't fall into that, which can ultimately affect her as an adult, right? But it's been interesting. It's definitely continues to be a journey. It continues to be ups and downs, right? Like, it's not all, happy and lavender and glitter and everything's great situation, right? Because that doesn't happen with children. There's always something, right? There's always something. But at the same time, it's awesome just to watch and see both of us like grow, right? Like, I'm learning from her. She's learning from me. We're both growing, into our own identities, even, in these midlife years, we're still growing into who God sees us as. And we just have to see it for ourselves, right? And do those things that He put in us. And at the same time, helping our children do the same. So, all right, y'all. That's all I got. Let me know what you think. Give me a shout out if you are also, midlife and raising children, raising teenagers. Show me some love. Because I know I am not alone. I want to assure you that you are not in this alone. We are in this together. And at the same time, you can do all the things you are being called to do, right? As long as you create that space for yourself in this journey, in this transition, to prioritize you and make sure that you pour into you, and really hone into what you want and what you need as you go through these transitions. All right, y'all. Give me a like, give me a comment if you're watching on YouTube, give me a review. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, again, please share with all the women, all the mamas, all the people that you know, that you would think would benefit from this episode. And tune in till next time. And as always, sending love and light to you all. See y'all next time. Bye.